Young ladies and gentlemen, greetings to you wherever you may be in the world. So, your samurai is doing very well. It's just a little cold that's making me tired. That's why you haven't seen me all day on this 30th of July 2025. And so, in international news, it's a major blow for the West against the Russian and Chinese giants. It's a hard blow, a very bitter failure that the West has just obviously encountered. The West has just exposed itself in front of Russia and China. It was Australia that tried to compare itself to the Russian and Chinese giants. Australia tried, for the first time in its history, to launch a rocket into orbit from its own soil. But it only lasted 14 seconds. Maranatha, that is to say, 14 seconds, not even a minute. So the Australians are really upset. The Russians are sitting over there laughing, snickering. The Chinese are also mocking them. I'm telling you, the situation is serious. You see? So, according to official information, on July 29th, 2025, so yesterday at 10:35 p.m. GMT, the Iris rocket, designed by the Australian company Gilmore Space Technology, lifted off from the Bowen Orbital Spaceport on the northwest coast of Australia. So this was the very first orbital test. The very first orbital test. And it was a failure. Something Russia does regularly. Even when North Korea failed several times, they came to see Russia. Russia launched it for them. Russia put it into orbit. Even Iran has successfully managed to put its own satellite into orbit. Yes, but Australia, which actively collaborates with the United States of America and the United Kingdom, you will recall, these are the three powerful countries united in Florida under the astute leadership of President Joe Biden to collectively pay for advanced nuclear-powered submarines in order to exert significant pressure on China within the strategically vital Indo-Pacific Sea region. So Australia tried, but it was a failure. So what we witnessed was an immediate crash. And this immediate crash reveals technical flaws. Yes, technical flaws are being blamed. And then they like to say, well, listen, Australia has still taken a big step forward. What big step? It's a failure. Barely 14 minutes after its dramatic launch, the powerful rocket veered sharply sideways and then crashed violently and catastrophically to the ground, resulting in a complete loss. Just after 14 seconds. So the failure is complete. This launch carried no payload, but it bore enormous symbolic weight for Australian technological sovereignty. So Australian technological sovereignty is being called into question. They have no sovereignty. Yet we are currently in a world where all the major powers are striving for dominance in space. Every time Russia sends, Russia carries out, China carries out lunar missions. Russia sends missions, satellites into orbit. Regularly. Yes, regularly it's become like child's play for them. Australia has tried. That means the experts, the Western scientists from Australia, but it's just empty, really. Yeah. They're not. Even the Iranians can't get close to them. Yes, it's a shame they want to hide. So, it must be said that the dream of a national launch turns into a live technical humiliation. And then they launched it live and it crashed live. So, a direct technical humiliation. Yes, the dream turns into a nightmare. It must be said that this is a loss of credibility in front of the Russian and Chinese giants. As we mentioned at the beginning of the video conference, it's a loss of credibility. What can Australia say in the face of Russia and China? Those guys launch things, like I told you, as if it were child's play. They often launch and it goes into orbit. Even Chinese babies, kindergarten kids, have started making types of rockets out of empty water bottles. They put them together without putting water inside, then they create propulsion and it takes off. For kids in China, it can even go up for more than 5 minutes compared to Australia. So what should Australia do? They should probably go to the Chinese babies, maybe, so that the little kids can share their kindergarten techniques with them. We've seen a lot of videos like that going around. So what needs to be said is that China is multiplying its lunar missions and Russia is also continuing its orbital launches. This failure is a stain in this race for space dominance. The West can no longer afford any missteps. Well, maybe not missteps, but the West has exposed itself. This crash is reinforcing the perception of a Western technological lag in key regions like the Indo-Pacific. It shows that the West is not ready yet. They're just beating their chests. It's only a few countries that are actually ready. But otherwise, Australia is a failure. And right now, as I'm speaking to you, the Australian authorities have their heads down. Yes, because they wanted to show off. They wanted to do what China does, what Russia does, but they couldn't, and they won't be able to. That's why this is a major blow to Canberra's strategic ambitions. It's a very hard blow because this launch was supposed to make Australia a regional launch platform. It was supposed to be a regional launch platform. All the countries in the region were supposed to come here to carry out their launches. Unfortunately, it was a failure. So this failure already seriously jeopardizes their ambitions. And it also weakens Canberra's role within Western alliances, especially regarding intelligence, surveillance, and deterrence issues in space. Russia, through its media, was quick to report the failure as proof of Western weakness. Russia wasted no time. Russia reported that in their view, they are weak But the Russians are also very bad, right? They are really, really bad. So that's how it is. In conclusion, it wasn't just a rocket that crashed, but a national ambition that crashed. It is national sovereignty that has crashed. It's so embarrassing. That's it. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was the top story in international news. So please share it as much as possible. I'll be back with more news later, by the grace of the Almighty. That's all. I'll be back with you later. And for all those who are new, thank you for subscribing to the Le Samouraï page. That's right, Le Samouraï, subscribe. And don't forget to leave a comment with your feedback. So that was the voice of your humble servant, Le Samouraï.